Ms. Bond, I have a question concerning the school board decision on the neighborhood schools. If I, which I did oppose, if I was in opposition to that, and you're my representative, I just want to be able to come to someone and make my complaint and hear support for my complaint.
Right.
How would you, as a servant for District 39, how would you handle that if I were to come to you, a bunch of us concerned citizens, and we're like, hey, look, the school board just did us. How can you help us?
Yeah, I mean, that is actually the #1 issue that people ask when I make phone calls or I go door to door. So that's by far the #1 issue. So I obviously oppose their policy because in life, when you're working and progressing, and we are in a global economy, you're always going to be working with people from different backgrounds and different experiences, different socioeconomic situations. And fortunately, I learned in 1st grade from my teacher that everybody that comes to the table comes with a different history, a different set of experiences, and a different perspective. So when you're elected to office, even at the town council level, before you make a decision on a bill, you need to think about all those different histories, perspectives, and experiences, not your own. So I always try to think of the person in the opposite situation for me. The school board situation, it is unfortunate because we are going backwards. I can't believe that in 2010 we're having this conversation in Wake County, and it's occurring in 3 or 4 other counties. And we know from experience that when it starts in one county, it starts spreading across the state, and it's a deterrent to businesses coming here, especially global businesses, because they don't want to be in that type of environment. They're hiring diverse workforces, and they want to be in a place that's inclusive and where everyone's being treated fairly. So unfortunately, folks didn't show up for that election. So we have a group of people that have been voted in, and those decisions are predominantly made at that local level. And generally, I would say an elected school board should make decisions about their school system because they were elected by those people countywide, whereas a House member is elected in a district, and they're supposed to represent the best interests of that community. I think there's a few situations, though, with public education that will probably need to rise to the state level, and this is one of them. I actually think food and nutrition at some point needs to rise to the state level because I'm a little concerned about what kids are eating in public schools, and that probably needs to be looked at, from a more global perspective. And certainly diversity policies, neighborhood schools. If we keep seeing counties adopt this policy, it's going to be very bad for a state that's ranked in the top 5 or 10 for business development and for being progressive, which has been our history. So I think that diversity issue at some point is going to have to rise to the state level because we cannot let school boards take us back and have this trickle-down negative effect on our communities. So what I would tell you is all of that, and that I would probably want to push that to the state level so that we can set some basic policies. And like I said, food and nutrition is another area, and I actually think sex education is another area where there's a requirement right now that there have to be hearings at the local level, and in some counties that's just not going to happen. All of these things lead to inequalities among school systems, and we've had a court case going on for 10 or 12 years about equity in school systems. So this diversity issue needs to rise up above that so that we don't have continuing issues with inequality among school systems.